Welcome back, Casual Cooks. It's finally World Series season, and I live here in Southern California, and the Dodgers have actually made it into the World Series. So I was inspired to make their version of Dodger dogs with a little bit of a twist, the casual style. So get ready. Bases loaded, buns toasted, dogs roasted. Come along with us while we have a great cook. In order to make our style of these LA Stadium hot dogs, we just got some buns from the store. You can actually make your own bacon wrapped hot dogs, but they sell them. I got these at Smart and Final. And then we've just got some roasted bell peppers and some onions that we're going to griddle up today. Whatever toppings you want is what could go on there, but I'm trying to do it as the version I see when I go up to the stadium and see the vendors outside. Little mayonnaise, little mustard, little ketchup, and then we're going to season the vegetables today with a little gospel from the meat church. Let's get the cook going. We're going to head on over to the griddle, and I'm going to turn it on up to about maybe about 300 just to get the vegetables starting to roast. All right, we're going to let the griddle heat up, and then we'll come back once it's nice and hot. All right, we finally got the griddle going up to about 300. You don't want to get the hot dogs and the vegetables on at the same time. Typically, it takes a little longer for the vegetables to get nice and roasted the way you like it. So I'm going to put a little avocado oil onto the griddle and move that around. Let me get one of my spatulas. We won't need a lot of oil once the dogs start cooking because the bacon will render the fat, and that way the fat will provide the nice space that we need, versus the vegetables aren't going to have that. So you got to have somewhere for that to go. Oh, look at that. Couple didn't make it. Again, that's the beauty of home cooking. And you can use the vegetables. You can get them as soft as you like. I like a little bite to mine. So I'm going to try to leave mine, probably will take me about maybe 10 minutes of the griddling to see where we're at. But you'll be able to see the onions start to caramelize. They turn kind of a brown and the sweetness comes out. And then the bell peppers just kind of roast down a little bit where they get a little soft, because we're going to put this on the dogs as if we would like a cheesesteak. All right, so let me move that around, get another spatula going. And then for a little bit of flavor, you can roast just the vegetables themselves, but I like to put on a little of the gospel. It's got some really good flavors. It's an all-purpose rub, so it's got a little salt, little sweet, little pepper in there, but you could use whatever you want. But I'm a big fan of a lot of the Meat Church products. So, Matt Pittman, you do some good work. All right, kind of a pretty liberal use for that right now. And then I'm going to flatten it out so it'll cook a little faster. I have 4 different areas on medium right now, so I can kind of spread it around and move it. And I think I'll put this one on low or even off, because that'll be my hold zone. And then these will be the hotter areas. Eventually, I'm going to move the vegetables over to the low cooking zone, and then I'll be able to put the dogs on kind of a medium hot. We don't want the bacon to be too crispy right away, although it can get that way. It depends how you like yours, if you like it really crispy, or if you like the bacon with a little less bite. I kind of like it somewhere in the middle. Oh, it smells so good right now. If you guys could smell that. Whew. Again, if you've ever had the luxury of going to the ballpark, these vendors sit outside with these kind of carts, and it is so flavorful. The smell of the bacon, the sweet onions. You can't not but think of baseball. I've been to SoFi Stadium as well for some Rams and Chargers games, and they're up there as well. So it's really kind of any LA stadium has these kind of Dodger-inspired hot dogs. All right, I'm just going to let those soften up for a little bit. And once they're a little softer, maybe another 5 minutes or so, I'm going to open up the hot dogs and get them on the griddle as well. The veggies are become a little softer, but I'm going to want them probably a little bit softer, but it's going to take time to cook the hot dog. So I'm going to slide them over. I have this area of the griddle on off, so I'm just going to kind of move it over. Keep an eye on it. You can see the caramelization right here. You see the caramelization on that onion. You can see how soft the peppers have gotten, but I can still go with it a little softer. But again, it's going to take time for the hot dogs to cook. So let me get a glove on and get these hot dogs on the griddle. Again, you don't need to put any type of oil down because the bacon is the fat. The bacon is going to render that fat out and keep it nice and moist. So you can see these are already pre-wrapped, bacon-wrapped hot dogs. You can hear the sizzle on there. I've actually turned it down to kind of a medium. Again, when dealing with a griddle, it's more of like a feel thing. You can't just say a particular degree or temperature. So I may turn it down a little bit. I like mine to kind of cook a little lower and slower. Today, I think I'm going to cook about, let's go for maybe 5 dogs. Yeah, let's go for 6. No reason not to, right? And look at that. You can see all of it's starting to bubble up, all of the goodness going on right there. And you're just going to let it cook nice and slow. And then every once in a while, go ahead and just roll them over. But we want them to kind of get nice and crispy on that bacon. I don't have to worry too much about the vegetables over here. They're just kind of chilling. Like I said, I'm actually going to turn this third one also off because it doesn't really need anything. Just the transfer heat that's coming over, carrying over from this side of the griddle is going to heat this up and keep it a little low. If you guys wanted, you could have like a dome that you could cover that. To me, that's a little too much. I like it with a little bit of flavoring from the outside. It's going to be great just the way it is. All right, the rest is just a waiting game as we continue to flip and rotate the hot dogs. When you rotate it, you want to be sure you're rotating it if you've wrapped it in the bacon so that the bacon doesn't unwrap on the grill. So I'm kind of looking at the way it is. For mine, I got to rotate it towards me. Oh, see, like that one actually got a little too much color for me. This one is pretty perfect. So I might need to move some of these around a little bit. Some of them are getting done a little too much, but again, it's bacon. It's just the fat that's going to render. It's not getting burned. But I'm going to turn it down. I'm going to move this one more to the middle. Move the other ones to the sides a little bit. Since there's less heat coming over here, I can kind of slide these over. Just like working with a grill, you have to find your hot spots and the areas that aren't heating up as much. So you can move around and find exactly where you want that meat to go to get the good caramelization, but not get burned. Check the onions and the peppers. Excellent. They're getting soft as we speak. We're just sitting there, leaving them alone. But they're staying nice and warm. So far, it's been about 6-7 minutes, somewhere in there. I don't know, 6-7. Anyway, you can see that we're getting a very nice cook on the dogs. They're getting a little caramelized. Again, this is not burnt. This is simply the fat that's rendering off, same way you would ribs or anything like that, because it is pork. And we're just going to keep rotating these. You'll see there's some parts that are less done, so that's the part that's not getting the heat. And so we're just going to keep flipping these. It'll probably take another maybe, I don't know, 7 minutes left, and we'll see how long it takes. Again, all of the vegetables are over here. They're basically done. They're just hanging out over here, still keeping warm, but you can see how caramelized those onions have gotten and how soft the bell peppers have gotten. They just kind of flip around nice and good. It's going to be right on top of those LA Dodger dog style hot dogs. They'll probably come back in another maybe 5 or 6 minutes and we'll finish this thing out. You can see that the dogs are almost done. They've caramelized on the outside, but then you also need to get the actual hot dog done on the inside. So I'll turn that one. Now we're just going to worry about plating. So I'm going to pull out a plate right there. Let's get a bun out. I'm going to turn all of this stuff off. And I'm going to get this bun open. All right. Let's see. I will pick this one. Looks good to me. We're just going to put that dog right down in the middle. And then we're going to help ourselves to some of this awesome caramelized onions, roasted bell peppers right on the top. And just so I can make sure both cameras see it, let me show it to you guys. All right. And then I am just going to add my flavoring. So the flavorings that I like on here, typically when you're at the stadium, they normally do this with a little mayonnaise, mustard, and ketchup. And I'm going to do the same. A little mayonnaise, a little mustard, and a little ketchup. Oh, I really can't explain how much this smells so good right now. Again, let me show this to the camera. Mm. All right, let me move that over and let's go for a taste. Here's hoping that the Dodgers win the World Series. Let's give it a bite. Mm. That that is a home run. Seriously. Mm. Even as you're eating it, you feel like you're actually at the game. I mean, I'm getting all types of things hitting here. The sweetness from the caramelized onions. The bacon is perfectly crispy. It's sweet from the onions, but it's also very savory with those peppers in there. And then adding your choice of condiments. I know some people would sometimes add some jalapeno peppers or things in there. I've also seen versions of this where they do it with pico de gallo, but this is fantastic. Mm. On this one, I didn't toast the bun, but I'm going to try another one in a minute, and I'm going to toast the bun for it. After all, we did say bases loaded, buns toasted, and hot dogs roasted. So I just really like the soft bun. That's my preference, but I'll put one on there in a minute. Mm, so good. I hope you give this a try. Please let us know if there's something else that you use or that you go to that's around your ballparks so that we can try to make it here too. I can't thank you guys enough for liking and subscribing to the content. We've had a lot of followers recently, and really that adds so much to our channel. It gives me the ability to be able to do these things. So please, if it just takes a moment of your time, go ahead and hit subscribe by hitting that bell at the bottom and get notifications on our newer content. And remember, cooking doesn't have to be hard. It's all about keeping it casual. Until then, go Dodgers, and I'll see you on the other side of the World Series.